Hi, this is Marcia, and this is part two of Blended Learning, the new normal for education. In this part, I'm going to walk you through what blended learning looks like in an elementary, middle, and high school environment. I'm going to walk you through what I call the three phases of blended learning, starting out with station rotation model, moving into phase two, which does a lot with differentiated instruction, and then finally into phase three, where we're almost personalizing education for students with implementation of project-based learning, data meetings, and really individualizing the checklist for them. So let's get started and let's walk you through what blended learning looks like at elementary, middle, and high school. All right, what does blended learning look like? In these next examples, I'm going to walk you through blended learning from the viewpoint of this past school year. You're going to see videos of classrooms from September, November, and then in February, and what that looks like in all three phases. Now, this is what a traditional classroom looked like before there were social distancing rules. So please know that this is definitely going to be changing depending on what it looks like for the new normal. But let's start somewhere. Let's get us a baseline to figure out where we can go. So when I'm setting this up and I'm actually deploying blended learning in schools, I teach the teachers in a blended learning environment. I feel that it is really important for those teachers to understand what it feels like, what it sounds like, the frustration levels when they can't find work or it's disorganized. Not that I'm disorganized, but I want them to feel what the students might sense in that blended learning environment. So that way we can build a structure that fits every single student's learning styles. So here's what it looks like in the elementary classroom. Again, I'm going to walk you through phase one, phase two, and phase three. This is Rennell Elementary in Cypher ISD, Texas. And what you're going to see as this fourth grade classroom is in a phase one learning environment. The timer just went off. The students are going to get up from that learning studio, rotate to the next studio. There is going to be a mini lesson, which you can see right there in the classroom. The students are just left a mini lesson and they're going to rotate to the next independent studio. Then they're going to move to digital content and followed by a future ready studio. Every 10 to about 12 minutes, the kids rotate from one activity to the next. This is phase one. Phase one are the training wheels for the blended learning process. All right, what does it look like in phase two? This video was taken in December, and in phase two, there are individual timers. The students have their own timer. They have a multi-day checklist. You're going to see that checklist example right now. Read just one quick second on the table. It's that purple piece of paper. The students carry it around with them and they travel as they could mark off what they've completed and what they need to do next. They're working at their own pace, place, and path while the teacher is teaching a mini lesson with a group of students. There's independent practice, digital content, and of course, hands-on learning. All of these studios are comprised to teach the same concept, but in 4 different learning modalities. All right, this video was taken right before the beginning of March. So this is what phase 3 looks like. In phase 3, we still have individual checklists. There's projects going on. The kids are working on passion projects based off of what they're interested in. And then they have data meetings. Yes, the teacher in this classroom is getting ready to pull back students based on the data they're getting from online content as well as from formative assessments and the mini lesson. That data is going to then allow the students to have customized checklists based off of what they need to learn. There's still mini lessons, there's still independent practice, and of course the kids are still doing hands-on projects. So in one school year, we took a traditional 4th grade math classroom and we transformed it into a personalized learning environment for these students. And it's still doable no matter what situation we do. We just have to make sure that in phase 1, we really take that time to train the students. Okay, so we just saw an example in an elementary classroom. So what does it look like in middle school? So let's take a look at some middle school examples. This is a science classroom. Again, I did the same thing. I followed around these teachers from the beginning of the year, middle, and towards the end of the year. This is phase 1. The phase 1 is a timer will go off, the students will rotate, and they'll move to the next activity. Look at his mini lesson. His mini lesson had 6 kids in it. He was targeting their skills and really making sure those kids understood the concepts that he was teaching in science. Then they go to independent practice, they go to digital content, and then of course future ready. The kids will rotate from one studio to the next as soon as that timer goes off. This video was taken in September. This next one was taken in December. And in this example, you're going to see that they have individual timers, they have a multi-day checklist, there's still going to be a mini lesson. You're going to see the mini lesson real quick. But I want you to focus in on is the students are collaborating and working together on their future-ready activity. They had to present a project on the weather and how weather patterns travel from west to east and what that looks like. So they're doing that while the teacher's doing a mini lesson with the students. This was all part of the training. The kids just didn't work like this. The teacher just didn't work like this. We trained them to systematically deploy the blended learning process so they can get to phase 2 where we're starting to differentiate instruction. All right, and then this was just taken in February, and this is what it looks like. This is phase 3. They have individual checklists. The teachers are allowing to work on project-based learning. There are data meetings every week to help push the students to that next level of learning, as well as the mini lesson, independent, and hands-on learning. These students are highly engaged in their activities. They are getting more work done now than when they were doing whole group instruction, which is key for the new normal. The students in phase 2 can get more work done. They understand the concepts. They can move at their own pace. So therefore, we can cover more content when we move to that phase 2 learning environment. All right, let's see what it looks like in high school. All right, here's what it looks like in a high school setting. This high school is Cy Park High School. And Cy Park Cy-Fair ISD, we traveled to different types of classrooms. This is a social studies classroom, and this video was taken in October. It is a great example of a phase 1. The teacher has a timer, the students are going to get up, they're going to rotate from one learning studio to the next, and the kids are going to be working on future-ready projects. They all work in these different studios. The kids actually do like this. They say the class goes by fast. They enjoy learning with their friends. They don't have to sit and listen and take notes the whole time. Now let's look at what phase 2 looks like. In phase 2, we have individual timers. The students will time themselves. So when they get one activity done, they're going to move to the next. The last thing we want blended learning to do is create a room full of procrastinators. So we tell the kids, hey, work on this activity for about 10 to 15 minutes and then move on. There's a multi-day checklist, so it's going to last for 2, 3, 4, or maybe even 5 days. There's a mini lesson with a teacher. Independent practice, which is what these students are doing. This is a math classroom. So she just got done completing an independent worksheet, and she went to the back of the direction sheet to see if she got the answers correct. So it's an instant check to see if they got what they're doing correct. And then, of course, there's that hands-on learning as well. All right, let's take a look at what phase 3 looks like. I love phase 3 because remember, phase 3 is one baby step away from becoming a personalized learning environment. So what that looks like is there's individual checklists, there's projects going on, data meetings. This is an example of one of my friends, Kelly, and she's doing a data meeting with her students every week. She said as soon as she started doing these data meetings and holding the students accountable, her scores went through the roof, her behavior diminished because the kids knew that she was going to call them to the table, and the levels of engagement also started to rise. Not to mention that because she's almost personalizing their education, she is realizing that she is getting higher teacher evaluations due to the fact that she's differentiating and personalizing it for each individual student. Still many lessons, independent practice, and of course there's still those hands-on learning opportunities. So that's what it looks like in action. That's what blended learning looks like in a traditional classroom before social distancing. I think the new normal is going to definitely have a lot of those key aspects in there. There's going to be checklists, there's going to be mini lessons, there's going to be online learning. We're going to be able to take all these best practices of blended learning and really turn it into a new normal that's going to fit the learning styles of all students and teachers. All right, that was part 2. Stay tuned for part 3. Part 3, we're going to go into why blended learning. All right, I'll see you in just a few minutes.